Hi, it's Cassie with Cassie's Parlor, and I am here today to make a very fun pumpkin card for Thanksgiving, or just any card for the fall season, using Maker's Movement die set called Pumpkin Card Die Set. So here it is. I've already taken all the pieces apart from each other. We have a really awesome base here, and I'm going to do something a little bit different than a normal card, and I'll walk you through that process. And we're also going to use this beautiful paper pad from the Maker's Movement as well, called an Autumn Breeze. And just really quick, I'm going to kind of flip through the patterns in here just to show you how pretty they are and how wonderful they are for autumn. Look at those pumpkins. The colors in here are fantastic. And also what I really love about their paper, it's 6x6, so it's nice for card making, or, you know, layering, even if you're doing like scrapbook pages or other home decor type things. But what I really like about their paper, it's got a little bit of a gloss to it. It's like a satin more than a gloss, and it's really smooth and, you know, pretty thick, and really, really durable, and just really fun, bright patterns here. So I think oh no, there's the beginning. So I just wanted to give you a quick flip through and show you some of the different patterns that are in this book. I've picked out a few that we're going to use to make our card, and then the base of our card is going to be done with craft paper. So let's just get to it. Okay, let me get my crossover 2 machine out and ready to go. Here we go. So the crossover 2 is really nice because it has a slim design, you know, if you're not familiar with this, so that when you're storing it, the sides are up, they're velcroed together really strong, and then it just kind of folds out flat so that you can use it. So that is really nice feature of that. And you only ever need these 3 plates because of the way the system has been created. It has a dial system so that you can change the dial based on the thickness of what you're cutting, rather than adding more shims or more plates to change, you know, what is going through the machine. So if you've never heard of the crossover 2 or never used it before or seen me use it, or anyone, I do have a video on my YouTube channel that will walk you through this whole machine and how to use it, and a lot of the benefits and features of it. So for this craft card stock, I'm just going to use this first die, and it is the main card base, and it's really the shape of most of the pumpkin. You'll notice it's flat on the top, and if you look really closely, I don't know if you can tell, maybe not, but I'll tell you, there's the cut line all around, and it stops on either side here, and then it just is going to not cut this top part, so that you can put on the folded edge of your cardstock. Okay, and it's going to make a pumpkin-shaped card for you, so that's really, really cool. So I've already folded the craft paper, as you can see, folded it in half, okay? So I'm going to lay this pumpkin on the fold line, just above it, okay? And I'm going to get some of my tacky, my low-tack tape, and I'm just going to make sure this is nice at the top. Okay, and then I'm just going to stick this down so it stays in place, and I'm going to flip this over, put it right there, and we are going to run this through. Now this is just just 2 layers of cardstock, so we can have a fairly low number. We're going to go with 2, and we will run this through. Alright, so now I really love this low-tack tape because it does not rip your cardstock when you're using it, and it comes off nice and clean, and I can reuse it over and over again. Okay, so now check this out. I have an awesome card base that is in a pumpkin shape. Whoops. So there we go. So that's the first piece. And we're going to do something special with that. I'm putting the craft paper to the side and we no longer need the base. So next you'll notice in this die set that there is like a weird kind of oval, okay? And that is the top part of the pumpkin. And we are going to cut that as well as all of these other little bits out of pattern paper, okay? So I've chosen a few of the colors of pattern paper that I was showing you before, and we're going to use these for different elements and layer them up. So let me bring my platform or my plates back on this side. So we're ready to go, and I just like to kind of set these up and then put the colored different pieces of paper on top of here so that I can cut everything out all at once. This is one of the other really nice features of this, is that you can definitely cut a bunch out all at once. Okay, so I'm going to have to cut these down a little bit so everything fits, but this is what I was thinking. I just thought it would be really fun to use pattern paper for all of it, except for the words. We're going to do something different with that. So I just want to make sure I have enough. So those guys, so I have to cut, so I want them to be this dark polka dot, so I have to put them there. That's the stem and the little curlicue thing. Okay, so that paper's done. And then the leaves I want to cut out of this fun leaf pattern. So we'll do that. All right. And then Give Thanks actually is going to be cut out of black paper. I think that would look nice on top of all of this pattern and color and everything. So whoops, I made that just a little too big. So a really nice thing with making this card too that you could try is just using scraps. You know, if you have a box with a bunch of different scrap papers in it, even pattern or solid or whatever, stuff like this is really nice to use up those scraps. Okay, so now for this last piece, this oval, I am going to have to recut that base, only because what I want is for the base I'm going to cover with this orange pattern, and then I'm going to do that top layer with this blue so it has like a contrast. I think that's going to look really cool. So we're going to go up and down like this. I want it to be vertical, and let's see, I just want to make sure I cut enough. So here we go. Okay, so now we'll set this back this way and just make sure, I mean, you could use any paper. That stripe would look really cool too. So many great choices. So we're going to cut these first, and then we'll come back and cut that base one more time out of the pattern paper, and then I think we'll be all set. All right, here we go. All right. Here we go. Cool. Okay, so some of it stuck here. I'm just going to move it all to this lower part so it's easier to find everything. Okay. So we've got the top part of our pumpkin. That's going to be amazing. I mean, you really could do either side. How cool. Okay. And then get rid of our extra. Now, I don't throw any of my pattern paper away like this extra. Definitely use it for another project, so keep it. Some really cool things. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but this actually has a little bit of embossing in it. So that's a very nice feature as well. This is going to be the stem. And then we've got the little curlicue that goes on top. Oh, I've got some awesome leaves. Those have embossed bits to them as well. You could cut a bunch of leaves and really have fun with the background with that too. Think about cutting a bunch of those leaves, and I love the pattern paper that I used. Actually, I'm going to leave these in here because the dot for the eye is in there and I don't want to lose it. So we're going to leave that all together. Okay, now all of that is cut out. Now we're just going to cut that base one more time, and then we will be done with the cutting and we can start to assemble, which is the fun part, right? Okay, So this is pretty much an even pattern, whatever way you go. So, oh, look at that. That's so pretty. Oh, I've had a really hard time deciding on which side to use for which thing because they're just all really beautiful. So, okay. So let's cut this out one more time. And then we can start assembling. Okay, very good. So now this is really going to show you that that top part is actually just a fold line, right? It did not cut out the top. So I'm going to use scissors to cut that out because we want to have the full pumpkin here. So I'm going to grab the scissors and I'm just going to cut. It does actually give you a nice crease, so you can cut a really good straight line there. And now I just have one single piece for the top of my pumpkin. Okay, so now we're definitely done cutting. So let's get our crossover 2 put away. Okay, now's the fun part. We have all the little bits here. I'm going to kind of tidy up the area. There we go. So I'm getting this cutter out because I really just want to score. And I want to have a nice straight line. So we're going to make an easel card. And if you don't know what that is, I'm going to show you now. And it's really, really easy. And it looks amazing. And it looks like something that might be difficult, you know. So, and a lot of people really like it. So I just thought this card in particular lend itself to making an easel card out of it. And the way that you do this, now this is your card base, okay? So what I'm going to do is just find my middle point here, and you could measure or you can eyeball it or you can do like this, however, whatever works best for you. So now I kind of know where my middle point is. So now I'm just going to use this as a scoring tool, and I'm going to make sure I'm nice and straight, okay? And then find a score line, doesn't matter what one it is, because we just want to have a good straight score here. Okay, so let's make sure that this is going to be nice and straight. Okay, and we're going to burnish it really well with the bone folder. All right, and then there we go. Okay, so now we can put this aside and I can show you how to put this together. Uh-oh, got a magnet there. Okay, so before we actually put it together, I was also thinking that it would be nice to thwack the edges of the of this card base, just to give it a little bit something extra. And I want to do both pieces, okay? So I'm using the new color Flame from Catherine Pooler. And I'm just going to kind of move other things out of the way so that I don't get ink all over everything. So I just need a little bit of a tap, I guess, actually. And I like to pull the ink from here. You could dip right into your pad too, it doesn't matter either way. But I'm using just a blending brush. And so I just like to move my ink around so that I don't have hard lines when I get started. And then I'm going to keep this ink in one spot on my mat and move my card around. So now I'm getting some really nice distressy kind of edge. Okay, and when you feel like you're losing ink, you just re-ink. You can dip it in like that, or you can flip it over, whatever way works best for you. All right, and try to keep your ink in one spot on your mat so you don't have ink going all around and making a big mess. Just a top tip for you there. So see how it's already adding some dimension to this beautiful paper? Putting ink on the edges of paper as you're building your layout really does help it to just look more finished, more complete, and professional looking. So there we go. There's our first piece. Really, really beautiful. And that flame color is just gorgeous. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing to this guy. Now it's going to be a little bit more pronounced on him because it's got that blue base. like a turquoisey aqua blue. Really, really beautiful. All right, whenever you feel like the color is kind of fading, you just want to get a little bit more ink. I start just on the mat to kind of even it out, and then bring it onto your paper. And then you notice I'm just swirling my paper around, keeping my brush pretty much in the same spot, in the same general area, moving that ink around. Here we go. Okay, tiny bit more. Here we go. Okay, that looks amazing. There's that piece, and these are going to go together really, really, really nicely. So now we're done with the flame, and I will clean my board, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so the next step is going to be to put this part together onto my easel card. So with an easel card, what's going to happen is, because we have folded this top part of the card in half, what we can then do is fold this, and now it becomes an easel, right? So our card is going to sit up here, and you'll see in a minute how that all goes together. So because of that, we don't want to put adhesive on this whole thing before we stick this onto here. We only want adhesive on this bottom half. Okay, so you're going to use a tape runner or whatever kind of adhesive you use, all right? And you're just going to run tape right up to the fold line that you created, that crease line, and then, you know, down around the bottom part, and then a little in the middle, just to make sure you've got enough adhesive that this card is not going to go anywhere. Okay, it's a bit more of an interactive card, so you definitely want to make sure that you've got a good strong adhesive here to hold it down. All right, so then you just are going to line up your card. Now we know that this is going to fit perfectly because we cut it out of the same die twice, right? So it's going to line up just right. All right, so now this is stuck down. So now I can just show you, okay, that is what your card is going to be like. Do you see? And then we will put a stopper here, and we'll finish decorating, and it's going to be super cute. Now, because of this, you know, if you give this to someone, I really think that they would be possibly putting it, you know, as a decoration for Thanksgiving. Maybe it'll go on the mantle, or at, you know, on a place setting or a table setting or something, because it's so pretty, and it stands up all on its own in a really unique way. So a lot of people really love to get easel cards, I have noticed. So I'm really loading this up with ink, because, or I'm sorry, with adhesive, because I definitely want to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, so now we just have to make sure that this circle part lines up with the bottom, and then on top it's going to hang over a bit, and this is what is really going to give us that pumpkin shape through all the way through. So you could have done the same pattern, you know, and maybe you could even like pop this up a little bit with a glue dot or something, or a glue dot, or a dimensional one, or just dimensional pop dots or something. But I really kind of like using the different patterns. I think that looks pretty. So now we have to create our stopper for the front piece. Okay. Okay, so next we're doing the stopper. Okay, so I have this piece of the lighter aqua blue that just has some leaves, kind of tone on tone in it, and it's really beautiful. And I've just cut it to the right size, and I kind of I just rounded the corners just to make it look a little bit nicer. Okay, and then we're going to put the Give Thanks right on here. So now it's time to get the Give Thanks out of this die. And then we are just going to stick it right onto this this base here, and then I'll show you how this works as a stopper when it's all ready to go. This really is an easy card to do, and you could mass produce these if you were making a lot of cards to send to friends and family, or to maybe to invite them to Thanksgiving dinner, or just to let them know you're thinking of them, and you know, to have a great start to the holiday season. That would be so lovely. Okay, And now that I'm happy with the placement, look at how pretty the black looks on that lighter color. We are going to use our dotty tape pen. And I just like to get a piece of scrap paper to work on so that I don't get little dots on my desk and then have to worry about cleaning them up after. And so this just has a bunch of little dots on it. There are a lot of different tools that you could use to do the same effect. If you have a Xyron, you could use that. If you have artist tack, you know, the little mini dots on the sheet, you could use something like that. Anything, whatever tool you use to stick down really intricate sort of die cut pieces. That will work great. So I'm just using this because that was close to me. And that's what I like to do. Just use what's easiest. All right, so I've got my T there. And then really don't want to lose that I and the dot of the I. So I'm trying really hard to keep this in order, and I've lost all my nails recently, so it's hard to pick stuff up for me. Okay, almost there. This is another reason it's good to sort of get your placement ahead of time, just to make sure you've got enough room for your letters, your words, and that they're evenly spaced, you know, so that you can, when you're sticking it down, you don't have to worry about, did I leave enough room for that other word, or is it too far away? You know, just gives you some peace of mind there. Look at how pretty that is. Whoop. After all that, oh, I was going to say, I thought I lost my I anyway. The dot. It just attached right to this because of the static. So, that's all right. Okay. You could even use tacky glue, you know. If you have a tacky glue, I like the Barely Art glue. That's got a nice needle tip point. That would work amazing as well. So any of those would work. Now we just need foam dots for the back side. Okay, so I've got some foam dots here. And I'm just going to put a few across the back side of this. It's really important that you use foam dots or something that has a lift here, because we need this to be a stopper for the card, and if it sits flat on the card base, it's not going to keep that, you know, in line very well. So it's really important to have either foam tape here or something with a little bit of height to it, okay? That's what we're looking for this step. And that is really going to make your easel card be successful, okay? So just peel these off and then decide where we want, you know, how tall we want our easel to be and where this is going to sit nicely. So I want it to be kind of, ooh, you know what? I just thought of something. Sorry. I really want to put that ink on this bottom half. I think that's just going to really help finish that part up nicely. And I just thought of it. So sometimes we got to change things up on a whim, you know. So we're just going to dip in here and get started and just do, oh yeah, see? Oh goodness. It's going to be so beautiful. This color is so gorgeous. So beautiful. It's called Flame. It's the newest color, one of the new colors from Catherine Pooler. And I'm really enjoying it quite a bit. Just in time for holidays. Halloween and fall and all the good stuff. So because they're going to open this card, and you know, I really want some continuity all the way through, I'm just going to do the whole thing. Okay, and there we go, we're okay. So I'm just going to go around the whole base of the card. I just love the way it finishes it. I think it really is worth taking an extra minute just to add some of these nice little touches. Especially using one of these kind of blending brushes. Any kind of blending brush you have will work just fine for this. This one is just a cheap one that I bought to try out, and I actually don't mind it. I'm not a master at blending, so, you know, there might be others out there that swear by different types of brushes, and that's great. Whatever works for you is wonderful. Okay, so now we've got the inside. So now when we prop this up, look at how nice that's going to look. There we go. So now I'm ready to put my my anchor down here. And I think I want it to be kind of near the bottom and definitely kind of straight across. All right. Make sure that those sticky, the foam dots are stuck down really well. Make sure you've got at least one on either end and one in the middle, so you've got a good strong anchor. And look at, so far we haven't even added the final embellishments. And look at how cute this card is. Really, really, really easy and really cute. Okay, so now we're just going to add our stems and leaves, and I did end up cutting out a couple of extra leaves just to have some down here to help add a little bit more detail. So I'm going to fold this flat for just a minute so that I can finish this top part. Okay, so first we want to put the stem up here. Oh my gosh, I just love using the pattern paper. I think it's a fun and different kind of way to get the same sort of result here. And it's just a tiny bit more playful. Okay, so I'm just going to put, now you definitely could use your Barely Art glue or whatever kind of tacky glue you have here if you don't want to use a tape runner. But I am just going to use a tape runner for today. I'm just putting adhesive on the bottom, like bottom third of this, and then I'm going to line it up so that it kind of goes with the curve. And you could have it be straight up and down, you can have it off to the side. You know, all pumpkins are different, but look at how cute that is. Okay, and then we're just going to add the little curlicue. So let's decide where it's going to go. I think I like it just up like that. That's going to be really cute. So I'm just going to put some adhesive off to the side. So that's kind of how I go through this. Where am I going to put it, and then where do I need adhesive so it stays but is not going to be problematic. So there's that. And then we'll add a leaf or two up top here. I love that I cut them out of this paper that already has all the colors of the leaves so that we get, you know, every single one is different and we get a little bit of each of the colors in there. I think that looks really awesome. Okay, so let's add a couple of leaves. Okay, and then once I'm happy with where they are, then we're just going to put our adhesive on the back and stick them down. This is, look at how cute. Okay, so I think I just want to add these last two leaves to this bottom part, and then we will be done. Okay, and so then these last two are going to kind of go in the middle a little bit. So just add the right amount of adhesive here, just to the bottom of that leaf. Okay, same for this one. Make sure I'm not covering up any of the words, but adding just a little extra touch. And there we go. There is our final card. You could even add, if you wanted to add some like jute or string or jewels or pearls or whatever you like. I mean, look at how cool that card is. Very, very cool. Let's show you some up close. Super simple, really, really cute and fun to make. And when you want to mail it to someone, you just lay it down. It folds down flat. Make yourself a little envelope. Really easy to do. They receive the card like this, they open it, you can write your message inside, and then, you know, and then they can just have it propped up like this as a decoration. So there you go. There is our card for today using the pumpkin card die set from the Maker's Movement and the beautiful, let me find it, the beautiful Autumn Breeze paper pad from the Maker's Movement as well. I hope that you found some inspiration here today, and if you did, maybe consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss future videos. If you want to learn more about the Maker's Movement, you can visit their website as well. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.